You know, for the past 8 to 9 months, I've been covering what's been going on at Valve and even with Steam. Everything from payment processor issues to massive amounts of censorship to games being delisted and removed, and even all the other issues concerning lawsuits, government interference, and everything else across the board, especially with the Steam Deck and Steam Machine. But if it's one thing that I've noticed while covering this company and everything else about this entire storefront, it's this. Regardless of what you think is actually happening, one thing is incredibly clear. It doesn't matter if you're a government, if you're a company, if you're a corporation, or anything else across the board. Everybody wants to try and control Valve software. Now, I know you're probably saying, Alex, what are you even talking about? How are any of those things related to what we're going to be talking about today with Steam gift cards no longer being available? Aha! Contraire mon frère. That's where things really kick in. You see, because 8 months ago, we have had massive issues concerning payment processors and censorship inside of Valve specifically, and even with Steam themselves, where we saw companies like Visa, MasterCard, and even PayPal completely work together in order to remove games from Steam after the actual scapegoat of what we saw with Collective Shout, as they were being paraded around and used by these companies in order to facilitate their actual wants and needs. And it turns out they succeeded. Valve then removed those games from sale and began to censor games on their platform, which is a massive issue overall. But then the wrench tightened even further. Companies like PayPal completely removed 94% or even more of every single currency on the planet, besides the big six being available to be used on Steam's own storefront. So if you weren't using that kind of currency, you were literally up the creek without a paddle. Companies like Visa and MasterCard were then attacking Valve's merchant banks, stopping them from having the ability to process actual payments. And to make matters even worse, developers were then having their entire life savings or even their funds completely held and removed by PayPal because of the games they decided to work on and publish onto Steam. As you can see, things are not looking good so far, but it gets even crazier. On top of that, we also noticed that the UK government was enacting and enforcing trying to make Valve ask for real identification, requiring everybody on Steam to input their actual ID in order to buy video games. How's this connected? Don't worry, you're going to find out soon enough. And because of this, Valve was able to scapegoat around all of this by going ahead and just saying, if you want to buy games in the UK on Steam, you're required to have a credit card, thereby making Valve no longer responsible for collecting your actual identification and keeping them out of the loop from whatever the UK is trying to enforce on the entire planet. And finally, we have the lawsuits, the ones from New York and even from Washington State, claiming that Valve is running a gambling monopoly scheme and going around and pushing for real identification as well, and even at the worst case scenario, saying that loot boxes are in fact gambling. When the reality of what's been going on is that in those lawsuits, which are both incredibly identical, using the same screenshots, the same verbiage, and everything else across the board, you can clearly point out that there is collusion in what's been happening. And to make matters even worse, inside those lawsuits were the actual words of wanting to have real ID verification to make sure that the users opening up CS2 cases or any other loot box case inside of Steam were in fact of age. Boy, that recap is kind of crazy when you think about it, am I right? Governments, companies, corporations, merchant banks, payment processors, and everybody else trying to tell Valve what to do and how to run their own business. It's almost like they're trying to force the hand of a company that doesn't play by the rules. But it turns out Valve may have done the unthinkable. It turns out Valve themselves may have actually bent the knee. And I think the worst part about this isn't the fact that Valve did that, but they may in fact be lying about it too. Because according to Jez Corden saying this on Twitter, scammers have adapted. Valve confirms that physical Steam gift cards are dead. Once the current stock are sold through, they're done. Valve's Steam gift cards have been a staple in major retailers throughout the world for quite some time, but today they confirmed they're being phased out. Now look, let's be honest about this. With that recap and what you just heard, if you're a regular viewer of mine, you're already putting the pieces together. And if you're a new viewer, welcome. Trust me, enjoy the ride. It's going to be a hell of a show. What we're seeing right now is Valve taking immediate steps and precautions into what's been happening across the board. It's really strange how all of a sudden Steam gift cards are a problem for scammers, where for years that's never been the problem. And just out of my own perspective, as someone who has been using Steam gift cards as well, because I don't like to have my own personal account information on any sort of storefront to continually charge me, it really is concerning about what's actually happening, truly restricting the amount of ways that I as a consumer and customer can in fact pay for video games. Now you're beginning to see where things are going around now, don't you? Certain words are starting to appear together, mix and match a little bit. Let's see what the article from Jez Corden had to say, though, and go from there. With Jez Corden's article from Windows Central saying, "This news came as a bit of a surprise this morning, but upon further inspection, it was probably only a matter of time." Today, Valve confirmed via SteamDB that it will no longer offer new stocks of Steam gift cards at a retail level. Digital gift cards sold directly by Valve will still be available, however. Valve suggested it is doing this due to how physical gift cards in general are being used to facilitate scams across the world, particularly targeting the vulnerable. Valve confirmed, however, that any existing Steam gift cards out there will continue to be honored, but they will no longer be restocked once the current allocation is sold through. However, Valve says it will continue to sell digital gift cards as they are less susceptible to these types of scams. And you know what? I gotta stop right here with all of this because clearly I'm incredibly upset. Not because Valve is doing something, but because of the idea of what I think is going to be of Valve actually lying about why they are removing physical gift cards. The thing is, I use them all the time. I'll go to my grocery store, I'll go to GameStop or what have you, and I'll buy physical gift cards there, put them into my Steam account, and that way I don't have to put my credentials into any storefront whatsoever. And even though Valve is, in my opinion, better with security than most other companies, I still have some reservations about things. Yeah, I'm that kind of guy. I know. A little bit weird, a little bit eccentric, but that's okay. And the issue for me is this. Not only do I see gift cards from Valve and Steam there, I see them there for Xbox, PlayStation. I see them there for gas stations. Disney, by the way, going to the theme park and buying tickets. Also for things like Uber Eats and everything else. It's incredibly apparent that if scams were a massive issue, not only would Valve be removing them, the physical gift cards would be removed across from every other company as well. And there's one thing that really stuck out to me in Jez's article. It was the fact that Valve is still pushing for gift cards, but only digitally. And when it's digital, what does that tell you? You have to use an approved payment processor in order to purchase those gift cards for your friends or anyone else. Boy, things are starting to come together now, aren't they? And it's a little bit concerning. But let's see what Valve had to say and go from there. With Valve's statement on their website saying this: "Can I purchase Steam gift cards at retailers? Yes, but only for a limited time. We introduced Steam gift cards to retail stores back in 2012 and added the digital program in 2017. Unfortunately, scammers use gift cards for major brands like Steam to take advantage of people all over the world. We've responded to gift card scams over the years by taking a number of actions to protect customers, including working with retailers, working with law enforcement, making changes to the cards, including adding a prominent scam warning, limiting redemption to be in the currency of your Steam wallet, limiting availability of cards, removing cards from sale where we observed abnormal activity. As we have continued to put more and more restrictions in place, scammers have adapted. They continue to have an impact on Steam customers and other unsuspecting individuals. So we've made the difficult decision to end the Steam gift card program at retail stores. As Steam gift cards run out of stock at retailer locations, we will not be restocking them. We expect all retailers to be out of stock by the end of 2026. Though we will no longer be selling physical gift cards, you will still have the ability to use your existing gift cards on Steam whenever you choose, subject to local laws. We also continue to offer Steam digital gift cards and are working to make this an even better experience. Guest checkout, which we added last year, is another way for family members and friends to gift Steam users with a digital card anytime. I want you guys to stop and think about this for a second. Are scammers real? Yes, absolutely. Are they an issue? Yes, absolutely. The problem though is I don't think that's the real reason why Valve is removing those physical Steam gift cards from sale and moving towards the digital one instead. I think all this has to do with two specific things. Number one, the UK cracking down on actual real identification and forcing Valve into other ways of trying to figure out on how to actually restrict who can purchase games on their platform. And the second reason why I think this is happening is because of the lawsuits that Valve is dealing with. The two specifically from New York and even the state of Washington, where they are claiming that children are doing illegal gambling on games like Counter-Strike because they're purchasing either keys to open cases inside of Steam with their parents' credit card, or they're using their cash to convert into the actual gift card to fill up their entire Steam account with money and then use that to go ahead and open cases. I think those are the two specific reasons we're watching this happen right now. And clearly that could be a massive factor. And hell, you know what? I'm not the only one that kind of noticed this. Back in February, UK-based website Radio Times put out an article talking about where and how to get Steam vouchers. Basically, the Steam gift cards in order to put those funds into your library using cold hard cash and then converting that into an actual currency that you use for Steam without having to put in a credit card, which many people in the UK clearly don't even have access to, either because of age or because they're not going to be putting their ID inside that system overall. So that could be one facet of what's actually going on behind the scenes in terms of why Valve has chosen to go through and not have physical cards available for people to purchase and then add funds to their Steam library. Now comes the second one, the Counter-Strike gambling accusation, and also possibly the money laundering situation as well that many people in fact have truly ignored about what's been going on. And I can guarantee you at some point you may even see other law firms trying to use that entire Steam gift card style of, hey, you are a minor, you're purchasing an actual gift card for this storefront, yet the storefront doesn't restrict where you can and cannot spend that actual credit, which means you could go ahead as a minor and then begin to gamble in Counter-Strike with those cases, literally giving another opening into that lawsuit of what Valve has been dealing with in the state of New York and with Washington as well. Now look, I'm gonna be real. If you're pretty smart, and I'm sure you are because you're watching this channel, you can kind of figure out exactly how that would kind of work, especially because Steam's API is open on the back end, and many people are able to in fact sell their actual Counter-Strike skins on third-party markets for real money instead of doing it through Valve's own economy. So in my opinion, what we're seeing right now isn't the fact that Valve is doing this because of scammers. I think they're actually doing it because of all the outside pressures that they've been dealing with over time, especially with the lawsuits, the payment processors, and everybody else trying to control what's been happening with this company. But the thing is, I'm not the only one that noticed this, and many others are pointing this out as well, or even admitting that's what they're doing. Smug Hobkin Boy on Twitter responded to SteamDB saying this: one of the rare Steam L's IMO. It's one of the few ways you can buy Steam games without a credit/debit card. Would you look at that? If you were someone like, let's say, the UK government trying to force real identification and making Valve require people to put in their ID, and you have a loophole in that company that literally gives you the ability to buy games without having a credit or debit card and putting your ID in that system, wouldn't it make a whole lot of sense to make sure that would actually be taken care of? Boy. Doesn't that sound kind of familiar all of a sudden? It's almost like these governments and companies are trying to control everything of what Valve does. And personally, what I see is that Valve is in no position to even negotiate right now. They have to basically bend the knee. But there's more. Here's Cringe Poop saying this: I get why they're doing this, but when you're a kid without a debit card, Steam gift cards are basically the only way to get money on your account. Literally, this falls directly in line with what we've been seeing about the lawsuits with Counter-Strike 2 and even the gambling allegations for Steam as well, especially on the case openings. When you are a minor and you're unable to have a credit card or debit card, having cold hard cash and converting that cash into Steam gift cards is the true way of getting any sort of money onto your account, whether it's by buying a video game or opening cases. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing right now. This could also imply as well into not having to put in your actual ID and be part of the database of what we're seeing across the entire globe with real identification overall. I think what's been going on is Valve is tightening up any loose end, especially while being inside of these lawsuits. And they're doing it in a very quick manner and using things like scammers as a way to sort of brush everything aside and not have any issues overall come up when they're inside of these court litigation processes. Here's Permaban saying this: I stock up on Steam wallets using exclusively physical gift cards, which I pay with cash. So thanks, Valve, and especially scammers. You just made buying Steam Wallet a paranoid affair for me because now I have to use digital. This is why we can't have nice things. Here's Steam Inventory Helper saying this: physical Steam gift cards discontinued to, quote, fight fraud? Sure, thinking emoji. Cards let people buy cases and keys with cash, anonymously, zero identity attached. The New York AG lawsuit specifically named that as a reason minors had easy access to loot boxes. Valve says the two things are unrelated. The pattern isn't subtle at this point. Capsule-free sticker system with broken pricing. Souvenir-o-matic leaked before launch with obvious gaps. X-ray rolling out across EU. Now physical cards that won't stop a single actual scammer. This doesn't look like a monetization roadmap. It looks like Valve speedrunning, quote, remove everything that rhymes with gambling before the court gets to ask us about it, XD. And if you've been wondering why the armory rotation still hasn't dropped and every update lately feels half finished, Valve isn't heads down building features right now. They're heads down building a legal defense. So as you can see, even I'm not the only one who's thinking from this perspective. Are scammers a problem? Absolutely. Are the scammers the real actual reason why Valve is removing gift cards from stores? Probably not. Payment processors controlling what's been going on and who can buy or sell games on that platform. Governments requiring real ID. The lawsuits happening to Valve about gambling with New York and even Washington. All these things, in my opinion, connect to make an actual line of why Valve is truly removing actual gift cards from their storefront. And I think this is exactly the real reason. And even potential availability of being totally controlled by other governments, telling them how to run their business or how to operate things in the first place. And in my opinion, Valve is in fact the last stand on people no longer having to require to input their ID into the space of being online. And the thing is, cash is king. It's anonymous. It's there. They can't track you, they can't control you, and they can't monitor you, especially when you're not using a credit card. And governments and companies absolutely hate that ability overall. And this is doing one thing and one thing only: removing true anonymity from you as a user. Again, payment processors, like I've said before, should not be privy into what I'm buying. Their job is to merely process the transaction. They shouldn't have any morality or idea as to why I'm buying something, especially if it's legal, and all they need to do is say, yup, this payment goes through, that payment goes there, and we're done. Their entire identity, their personal beliefs, this company's idea of where my money is being used is literally none of their concern. And this entire thing has truly gone well beyond the deep end. I don't know why it always starts off with video games either, for some weird reason if you think about it. It's always the gamers who have to deal with everything first before it always hits the masses. And here we are looking like a bunch of weirdos online screaming about it. But the thing is this, I'm getting incredibly concerned, especially if Valve is going to these kinds of lengths, in my opinion, to protect themselves from these lawsuits. That tells me a couple of things. Number one, there could be an actual legal ground about what Valve is dealing with. And number two, they may in fact be bending the knee to play nice in order to keep their company afloat, especially with what's been going on in the UK and even the entire planet with real identification. To me, this whole thing just stinks, and it's not good overall, especially with what Valve has been doing. I wish they'd fight back more. I wish they'd do more, but it looks like right now we may be in a battle that many of us are not ready to lose. And it's a battle for your online anonymity. And how far are you truly willing to go in order to keep your Steam account active? Would you put in your real identification? Would you add your information to any account as well? Or would you say, you know what, enough of this, I'm gonna sail the high seas and go somewhere else? I wanna hear what you gotta say. Speaking about what you gotta say, here's the comment of the day from yesterday's video. With Boko Gaming saying this, these companies underestimate our willingness to opt out of modern gaming. Boko, you're totally correct, and I think people really don't understand this in the modern age. Someone as old as myself, being in my 40s, I've got a massive physical game backlog of games ready to play, and even my Steam library is full of games that I haven't even touched yet, and don't even forget about emulation on my Steam Deck as well. If modern gaming is trying to go ahead and provide modern solutions, it's time for me to check out. And I'm sure many of you probably feel the same way as well. But as always, if you guys want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, hot takes in the gaming industry, Steam Deck videos, and fanboy content, subscribe to the channel. If you want Discord access or emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. Look, if you don't want to spend the buck, don't even sweat it, bro. Come on down to the live streams right here, Saturday nights, live, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, as I wear a banana suit and get insulted with text-to-speech for about 6 hours. It's actually insane. The community is amazing. Trust me, you're going to laugh the entire time. Live, Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on the channel. Do you want even more of me, though? Check out Oh No, It's Alex Gaming. Link to that channel is in the description down below. New videos go up every single Monday, and I stream games there daily as well. Hanging out with you guys, the best community on YouTube. Monday to Friday, 10:30 a.m. to around 2 p.m. as well. Come on down, hang out, and let me get you past your workday. Trust me, you don't want to miss it either. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you next time. Peace!